Britain then, one of only 2 countries to have held a Grand Prix in every year of the Formula One World Championship, extends that record further for today's Grand Prix. Straddling the border of Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire, the 18 corners of Silverstone Circuit form the 3.6-mile beating heart of Formula One. It's been reinvented over the years, with Turn 1 now the fast right-hander of Abbey, but the magic of racing is as strong here as it's ever been. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Pierre Gasly lines up on pole position. And starting next to them is George Russell. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Albon, Fernando Alonso, and Magnussen, Drugovich, Doohan, Hauger, and Oscar Piastri, Armstrong, Mick Schumacher, Yuki Tsunoda, and Vettel, Iwasa, Yuri Vips, Lando Norris, and Esteban Ocon, Bottas, and Red. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat, Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching for as they go down into Turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into Turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
Perfect job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice... Great work. You're catching the car ahead by around 5/10 a lap. Green flag. gap on the car behind by 5/10 a lap. Okay, good work. Great pass. We're currently trailing our teammate by 9.4 seconds. Okay, battery's looking good. You can use the overtake button to get past. Felipe's coming in for his stop now. Okay, gap ahead is 6.8 seconds. Okay. Okay, clear. Brilliant, nice move, keep going. overtake. Great manoeuvre, you made it look so easy. Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you've pulled through. Thank you very much.
Well, they've done a brilliant job, I must say, under some intense pressure to take a well-earned victory here at the British Grand Prix. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on track was: speed. I know it sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it. So let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I have to give it to Red. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
Let's move on to the constructors. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. There is also a strong showing from the Mercedes team today as they make their way up the standings. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One. We're all ready for tomorrow's race. Welcome along then to the Belgian Grand Prix, the race that gave us the maiden victory to the Jordan team in 1998, and in the same team, the phenomenal debut of a young Michael Schumacher. There's always something special just around one of the many corners of this fan favourite circuit. Spa-Francorchamps then is a 4.35-mile tour of the Ardennes countryside with 9 rights and 10 lefts, giving us the grand total of 19 corners. Average lap speeds in the dry can reach about 145 miles per hour, but without a significant improvement in the conditions, we are not going to be seeing anything like that today. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, with Pierre Gasly alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Red and Magnussen, Albon, Drugovich, Doohan and Ayumu Iwasa, Hauger, Mick Schumacher, Marcus Armstrong and Vettel, Oscar Piastri, Tsunoda, Yuri Vips and Lando Norris. Ocon and Valtteri Bottas begins the race from the back of the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Flag. It is 14.2 seconds. Right, let's have you in at the end of this lap, please. Strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. Hard work out there. That was a strong drive and a great finish. Well done.
Many doubted whether they could pull off the win here at Spa-Francorchamps, but they've done so in spectacular style. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on track was: speed. I know it sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
As the winners make their way up to the podium, one can only imagine the celebrations that will take place at Mclaren tonight. Congratulations to everyone on the team, securing the win and proving they're a force to be reckoned with out on the track. So let's review the updated drivers' standings. Pierre Gasly, our championship leader, pushes that lead out even further after today's performance. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Let's give it to Esteban Ocon. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. McLaren continue to increase their gap at the top. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who's joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
To go.
For years, the passionate Dutch fans have been easy to find trackside in races across Europe. Here, this weekend, it's even easier to find the Dutch fans as they have a race to call their own once again. A warm welcome to all of our viewers in the Netherlands and around the globe, of course, as we get underway for the Dutch Grand Prix. Zandvoort circuit then, 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, with plenty of steep camber and elevation changes to keep our drivers on their toes throughout the 2.6-mile lap. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position. And it's Pierre Gasly in P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Albon, Leclerc, Jack Doohan and Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, Hauger, Drugovich and Sebastian Vettel, Armstrong, Red, Lando Norris, Iwasa, Yuri Vips, Magnussen, Esteban Ocon and Yuki Tsunoda. Mick Schumacher and Valtteri Bottas begins the race from the back of the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. A warm welcome to Natalie Pinkham, who is beside me in the commentary box today. Let's talk about Red. No grid penalties, no mitigating circumstances, just a poor qualifying and disappointing start position for them today.
It's not a nice feeling, I promise you. They've got a quick car underneath them and they've got onto the grid, but they'll need a pair of binoculars to see the start lights. They'll be desperate for a good start to make up some of that deficit.
Battery charge is high. Let's use that overtake button a bit more. There's been an incident on track, but officials aren't looking to push for a safety car right now. Coming in for his stop now. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 1.5 seconds. Yellow flag. Someone's come off ahead of you. There's a yellow flag ahead. Gap to your teammate behind is 10.4 seconds. Okay, clear. There's a new strategy. That was a fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. No rain expected, no rain expected for the time being. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment. Great drive. We're really happy with that performance. Well done.
A difficult race then on a circuit that demands complete concentration, but they've persevered to take the win here today. So, Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
A reliable car, that was the most important factor here. This was a real battle of attrition, and you could tell those at the front were trying to find the balance between running at their outright pace and taking care of the car to reach the end.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari. So let's review the updated drivers' standings. Let's focus on driver of the day, Natalie Pinkham. Come on, who do you pick?
I have to give it to Red. They pushed and found some fantastic performance. It was an absolute pleasure to watch.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. Well, that certainly was an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon. It's time for the Italian Grand Prix once again here at the beloved and iconic Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. With the lowest downforce and drag of any circuit in the season, expect to see drivers making the most of the slipstream effect here today. With top speeds up to 215 and an average lap speed of around 155 miles per hour, Monza's reputation of one of the fastest circuits in the sport is well earned. We have 11 corners on this 3.6-mile track, with the best overtaking chance coming into the heavy braking zone of the Turn 1 chicane. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Dennis Hauger lines up on pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Gasly, Alex Albon, and Fernando Alonso. Armstrong, Magnussen, Iwasa and Mick Schumacher. Oscar Piastri, Tsunoda, Red, Doohan, Vettel, Ocon. Felipe Drugovich, they've taken a grid penalty, and Yuri Vips. Norris and Valtteri Bottas begins the race from the back of the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you here with us today. But I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into Turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
No rain currently expected. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment. Great manoeuvre, you made it look so easy. that was a fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting. That was our last stop, no more scheduled pit stops, let's go. Okay, the incident's been cleared. Let's get back up to racing speed. Come on. That's Alonso behind. Okay, so the gap to the car behind is 1.0 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. And the time last lap was a 1:22.6. Okay, the stewards have now enabled. Okay, Russell's behind you now. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Okay, they've done 10 laps on those tyres. Your last lap time was a 1 minute. We've got a lot of spare energy. Okay to use your overtake button. Absolutely fantastic. That is a brilliant, brilliant result. Well done.
They made great use of the clear air today then and didn't allow anyone to exploit the slipstream behind them. What a great win here at Monza. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
I think we'll chalk this one up to a deft touch on the brake pedal. That's allowed them to challenge down the inside into the braking zones, and ultimately, if you do that often enough, you end up winning the race. It was great to watch as well though, wasn't it? Forget strategy, forget tyre management. Who doesn't love a good old-fashioned scrap?
A show-stopping performance from the three drivers approaching the podium right now. It's been an interesting Grand Prix, that's for sure. So let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. The gap at the top of the championship has been cut down after a difficult race for our championship leader. Let's focus on driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
I have to give it to Red. They pushed and pushed and found some fantastic performance. It was just a pleasure to watch.
Let's move on to the constructors. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from Red Bull this time out, and they improved their position in the championship. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.